afternoon, everyone. I wanted to go ahead today and welcome you to my live. I just have a quick teaching. I'll be on here for about 15 minutes tops. I wanted to just share this information that God released, and I believe that He wants you to have it. I believe that He gave this information for you, and more specifically, He gave this information for us as a nation, as a people, because He wants us to grab something from it, right? And I will share that with you. So let me tell you what He was talking about. He was talking about the shift, right? I'm shifting, okay, but He's talking about the shift. Now, what is a shift? A shift is a change, right? A shift is a change or a transition. It could be a change in situation, a change in your level. It could be a change in your personal life. It could be a change in the world. It could be a change all across the board. But a shift is indicating a change, and the reason God released this information to me was because I saw somebody posted online that there was going to be a shift in the banks and the financial sector, right? And that, I'm not saying it's not accurate or not. I'm saying that is when that was the post I saw, and then God released this information to me, and so He began to teach me about a shift, right? And how a shift relates to us as a nation, right? How the shift relates to us as a nation. So the first thing He said was that for us, Belize, a shift is not coming. We are in a shift. That's what He says. We are in a shift, right? And that shift began with COVID-19. And He's also saying now that a shift comes to take you from one position to another position. One position, one situation, one level, however you guys like to, to phrase it, because I know everybody, sometimes they have their own lingo that they use, but a shift takes you from one position to another. The next thing is a shift happens in segments. That's what He's saying. The shift that we are in, it happens in segment. Now, the reason why I wanted to highlight this is because of the way He portrayed it, right? Because we can look at it from a global perspective. We can look at it from I would say a median perspective, like a middle point perspective, and then we can look at it from individual perspective. And now the shift that we are in, right? We are in a shift from individual perspective. We are in a shift on a global perspective. We are in a shift, right? Now, a shift always begins with an event. There has to be an event for a shift to occur. So the shift that the world is in began in China, in Wuhan, in the lab, when all that stuff happened, and then it started to grow gradually until eventually it overtook the world, and it was a global event. Now in 2020, when we were shut up in our houses, I remember stating clearly that power is going to tip in the world. right? Power is going to tip in the world. And I still believe that. And I believe that that is part of the result this transition is going to bring. So then, we are looking at a shift from a global perspective. And now they are starting to say everyone was affected in that shift. Everyone was affected from a global perspective. Everyone was affected, right? And now we are starting to see a lot of things being shifted around when it comes to people, when it comes to job, and we know how this goes. The Bible tells us chance and opportunity happens to all. We see some people going up, some people is going to come down. Some are going up, some are going down. Nations are going up, nations are going to come down. Right? Some nations' economy is getting even worse, while some nations' economy are starting to improve. Right? Because a shift brings change. A shift brings change and takes you to your purpose destination. Now notice I said purpose destination. I never said the destination that right? I never said the destination that God has for you. I said a purpose destination. No, the shift happens in segment, and the next thing that we are seeing all around the news that they are reporting are job turnovers, people being pushed out, people coming in, being hired. Those are stuff that are happening. We're also seeing a lot of warnings about the economy abroad and in different places. There are some riots happening. Do not be alarmed, because this is what God has to say for us as a nation. He says that this shift that is occurring globally and that is occurring even in our nation, because our nation in itself is also transitioning in segment, is also shifting in segment for the better. And we, God is saying, we don't have to worry, because this shift is come to position us at our purpose destination. So we don't have to concern ourselves about the shift. We don't have to concern ourselves. We want to thank God that we have leaders who are educated and are looking after things at that level. And we want to put our trust and our confidence in God that the will and the purpose He has for our life will be fulfilled. The will and the purpose that He has for this country will be fulfilled. God has promised this nation prosperity. It is His words, not mine. He has promised this nation prosperity, and prosperity that we can hand down from one generation to another, right? So that is what a shift does. The shift has come to transition us. Now, when it comes to a shift, if we look at a shift from an individual level, in our individual lives, because I want to make sure that the teaching is relatable and not, you don't see it as something that is just over your head top. When we look in our personal and individual lives, a shift comes in stages. And whenever a shift comes, the first thing that you look for is what? An event. There is something that is going to happen. Something that is going to happen that is not going to usher you into a particular direction. There's something that's going to happen may come as a bad thing. We are sorry that it took a bad thing. We are sorry that people died during COVID-19. We are sorry, and we are sorry for the loved ones who may still be grieving. People don't choose the events that causes a shift, right? What God does is that He looks down, because the world is gravitating according to God's prophecies from the prophets of old, right? And what God does is that He sees the enemy working his wickedness in the earth, and He takes the same things, the same system that the enemy has, and He turns it and uses it for our good and to take us to where he wants us to be, right? He uses that to take us to where we want to be. So it may have started out from the enemy, but now God has gotten a hold of it, especially for his people walking according to his purposes, his will. God has gotten a hold of it, and he has us covered. And he's going to use that which the enemy had intended for evil, and he's going to turn it in our favor and use it to transition us and position us to our purpose destination. So that's where we are going. So we don't have to be concerned about the things that are happening out there, or panic or anything like that. We don't have to be concerned, right? I did mention that a shift happened in segments, right? So an event's going to happen, right? Let's say an event happened in your life, right? Let's say, for example, you lose your job. You could determine the level of a shift in your life, because in your life, if you, let's say, for example, you lose your job, right? You already know that's going to impact you, and the way your family is set up is going to impact your family. You know, if you can't get another job, it's going to impact you on a large level. So it's a major shift in your life. It's a major shift in your life, right? Because now you guys won't be able to sustain your livelihood, right? So that's a major shift in your life. But let's say if in the event that something else occurred, let's say, for example, let me see if I get a good example, because I want to make sure that I'm relaying it accurately, right? But let's say, for example, you have a car and something went wrong with your car, right? Transmission issues. Something went wrong with your car, and your car is not working. So now you don't have the car to take you to work. You have to walk. So the event occurred, and it causes you to shift the way you do things. Now you have to start walking. You have to start walking. You need to buy a new transmission. You have to, if you don't have money in the bank to just go and buy a transmission, if you don't have any way to get it, you have to work your way up to get it. Or if the car is total, you have to just get another car. But that event has transitioned. It has shifted the direction of your life. It shifts the direction that you are going. That's what it does. It takes you in a different direction. It takes you in a different path. First, it stops things. It interrupts things, and then it changes the direction of how things are going, right? So that is how shifts operate. Let me see if I am missing anything. Like I mentioned, it's a very short teaching, right? So the stages, that what I mentioned, that we can look at it in an individual life, that it could be a major shift, it could be a minor shift, it can be something that affect most of your life, but some things are still intact, that it hasn't disturbed, right? So we'd say that's a medium, that's like a medium shift, right? Rather than a major shift whereby it interrupted your entire life. So it all depends on the perspective of on where the person is at, on the magnitude of the effects that the event has upon your life. That's going to determine the level of the shift, right? If it's a minor shift, if it's a medium shift, if it's a major shift, that's going to determine, the magnitude of it, right? Depends on how much it has interrupted your life, right? So let me see if I miss anything. So far I've covered most of what I wanted to say about the shift, right? But just to recap, the stages in the shift is just designated to get you to your purpose destination. That's really all it is for the shift, right? Right? So you don't have to concern yourself when you see things happening around in the world, Don't concern yourself. God has great plans for Belize. great plans for Belize. Great plans for Belize. Great plans for you people. You people are greatly loved, right, by God and by me. And, you know, we have good wishes towards all of you, right? So, thank you guys for listening to my teaching. I'm not going to do any altar call today. It's just a quick teaching. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you got something from it. Right? Have a